It's the last episode of Monday Night Raw before Extreme Rules, and we have a big show today. We have a couple surprises coming off of a really bad fucking episode of SmackDown. But I actually like that episode of SmackDown. I really enjoyed that promo I did. But let's just get right into Raw. So you open up the show with Stone Cold Steve Austin. General Manager Stone Cold. Glass shatters as Stone Cold Steve Austin walks to ringside. He tells the crowd that due to massive brawl from last week on Raw, in which multiple people were involved in it, tonight's main event will be Morrison, The Miz, Randy Orton, and CM Punk in a fatal four-way match. He also says that the WWE Universe will see Kofi Kingston in action for his own request against Chris Jericho later on in the show in non-title action. Finally, Stone Cold has heard all about this new age rattlesnake Bray Wyatt, asking to be challenged. So he has a challenger set from Extreme Rules. He just can't tell him who exactly it is yet. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. So we have Chris Hero versus Xavier Woods, the NXT title on the line. The NXT title hasn't been defended, but I believe this is his first defense, Xavier Woods, and he's taking on the formidable Chris Hero. And this match is pretty solid mid-card match. With Chris Hero is really good, and he's really improved it, as well as Xavier Woods impressing too. But during the end stage of the match, someone comes in from the crowd, and he comes in from the crowd, and he stands there, and he gets a big reaction. People know who this guy is. And Xavier Woods and Chris Hero are like, do we keep wrestling? It's kind of like Scott Hall invading WCW. Like, it's like, do we react to this, or do we just kind of play along with it? I don't know what to do. And then we have the end segment of the match. Xavier Woods then just hits a culture shock because Austin Aries had come down to ringside. And a pretty good overall match. Chris Hero, 78. He's kind of like, I know Cesaro usually gets, I think, 80s now in his mid-matches. Trying to build up, the mid-card. And Xavier Woods did pretty good, too. He started off, really early. Xavier Woods had a good run with the FCW title, which is now held by William Regal for the second goddamn time because developmental hates me. But, Xavier Woods making a good defense of his NXT title, but what the hell is Austin Aries doing here? So then Austin Aries, he hits his finishers. I can't remember what finisher we would hit in this scenario. I feel like an idiot. Probably that roaring elbow, I would assume. He hits the roaring elbow on both Hero and Woods, making sure to bust Xavier Woods wide open. He soaks in the crowd reaction, a mix of surprise and anger, as he picks up a microphone. He says, WWE Universe, my name is Austin Aries, and I am the greatest this sport has ever seen. Some of you may know my line of excellence from a company down south. Well, I'll have you know that place is, and probably always will be, a cesspool of hell. They fired me not because I was rude or didn't want to work, brother, but because they didn't have the money to pay AA with that fat checks they dish out to those old geezers down there. It was one phone call away to make it here, and I wanted everybody at home and in this dump of a town to remember this moment. Remember when you first got a glimpse of the greatest man that has ever lived. Austin goes to pose, but Cesaro rushes ringside, scaring Raw's new signee off. He runs through the crowd. Austin Aries is interesting. He had been on my radar. TNA, his contract came up, and I offered him a contract. He signed it, and then literally a day later, the game said he was fired. I don't understand how that happened, or why it happened. But you could tell I'm pretty excited just to have Austin Aries. Getting an 88A, by the way. Really good for just a debut mid-card promo. But, that's how a lot of these stats are. But super excited to have Austin Aries here. This is shaking up the mid-card plans a little bit. I don't really have too many, but, Austin Aries coming in has definitely changed things. We'll have to see how that goes. But when we have in a super match, how did this match not do as good? Who held this back? Chris Jericho was penalized as his drinking affected his performance. Well, that's great. In a superb match, which should have been an A-star match, Kofi Kingston defeated Chris Jericho with an SOS following botched interference from the Big Show. The Big Show, trying to hit that knockout punch on Kofi, accidentally hits Chris Jericho, setting him up for the SOS, and the WWE champion is allowed to pin him for the win. No, I thought there would be a little thing there. And in a decent match, Natalya defeats Velvet in 1607, a basic Divas match. Natalya getting some heat before her match at Extreme Rules against AJ Lee, hits a German suplex on Velvet to win. The match brought the fans down a little bit. I am absolutely pissed at Chris Jericho for doing it. God damn it, fucking drinking. I hope that doesn't fuck up some shit. Whatever. But, we have an important I thought this would do better. Natalya gets a mic from ringside after her match, and looks like she's gonna talk about AJ Lee. But the lights go out. And when they come back on, Natalya is running away from a crazed-looking Bray Wyatt. He grabs the dropped microphone and just starts ranting. He says, "Steve, I know Bray Wyatt. You and I know Bray Wyatt isn't a patient man. Why do you torture him so? Is it because your image is hurt by the truth I speak? Your blue-collar, beer-drinking, out-of-shape self is what everyone here strives for, and it makes me sick. So sick, in fact, that I hate you just as much as I hate all these people here. All these people who reject the new and worship the old. People who don't know their true destinies. One day I will convert the nation, then the world, then all the world will really be in my hand." And Bray Wyatt stops. Just as the crowd jumps out of their seats, a commotion is happening at the entrance ramp. There's no entrance music, but clearly someone's there. Bray Wyatt looks as he's seen a ghost as a familiar face walks onto the stage. It's Roddy Piper. Roddy, the rowdy one, is here on Raw. Roddy Piper himself. Michael Cole makes sure to mention how in shape the man is before he speaks, and he says, "Kid, everyone had to hold me back these past few weeks from coming out here and ripping you a new one on this microphone. But today was just a special day, wasn't it? See, it wasn't enough for you to win that championship. You had to come out here and rattle your wannabe Waylon Mercy shtick to the whole world. Now, I've seen this type of thing before so many times. I've been wrestling for longer than you and your redneck family even thought about playing Cthulhu Hunt. But you crossed the line when you say you hate these people. These people have given me everything. The WWE Universe was with me the whole time, and that's coming from a guy who's not seen Anna and the fans in a while. Now, you said you wanted someone new, someone you haven't beat. Well, let me tell you, Wyatt, this Piper is playing, and Extreme Rules, it's playing for you. I'm going to take your United States title if it's the last thing I do." And Bray Wyatt is shocked for a bit, and then he smiles. Roddy Piper and Bray Wyatt, the U.S. title, Extreme Rules. Damn. And we have a decent match here between Insane and Crime Time, where Sami Zayn beats JTT in 16 minutes with a brain buster. Pretty decent tag team match for what it's worth between these two. But more importantly, cut to a backstage segment. Cameras catch Insane backstage after the match. They talk to the cameras that are there, and they say they can't rate the Motor City Machine Guns at Extreme Rules. They're not the Motor City Machine Guns. I'm an idiot. If you remember on SmackDown, there was like a number one contenders this match, and the challenge was made, and apparently Insane have accepted. However, Wade Barrett and England's Finest come up, and they say they're lucky they aren't the ones they're having to fight, or else England's Finest would be the new tag team champions. The Shield also enter now from the other side of the screen, saying the same thing pretty much to Insane, that they're lucky that they're not fighting the Shield, only adding that they aren't scared of Wade Barrett's England's Finest either. And they just kind of stare down as Sami Zayn and Kevin Steen just kind of waltz on out of there. And we get real tensions mounting between these two powerful factions in England's Finest and the Shield. And now we have a hype video. It's CM Punk, The Miz, John Morrison, and Randy Orton. Fatal 4-way main event. It's all about getting that important momentum heading into Extreme Rules. John Morrison doesn't have a match, but, still, it's, like I said, very important to get that kind of momentum, so we'll have to see who can pick it up. And it's going to be CM Punk. CM Punk defeats The Miz, Randy Orton, and John Morrison. Then when the number one contender defeats Randy Orton with a roundhouse kick, I like to imagine probably due to something involving The Miz. Like maybe Randy's trying to pin Morrison, The Miz clobbers him. He probably tries to pose for something, and CM Punk can sneak a win in there too. Two kind of Weasley heelish type characters there between all these four guys. But great match. And then we end Raw with a stare down. Kofi Kingston comes out having beaten Chris Jericho. CM Punk stands there. It's going to be Punk and Kofi for the WWE Tag Team Championship. I can't talk today. It's for the WWE title. I'm an idiot today. I swear to God. And then in a little bonus, Austin Aries defeats Anthony Nese in a post-show match. They don't click. Anthony Nese coming in from FCW. He defeats him with a last chancery, and they didn't click, but Austin Aries getting a 68. That's pretty good for his main show. And get a 96A star event for Monday Night Raw. I think that's a great way to end Raw's stuff before Extreme Rules, which is going to be next. I'm excited. I hope you're all excited. It's probably not going to be WrestleMania worthy, but it's going to be something. So many great matches. Roddy Piper, Bray Wyatt, CM Punk, Kofi Kingston, Insane vs. Motor City Machines. It's going to be something, and I'll see you guys for SmackDown.